Hello everybody, my video. It's been MJG Games. Today we're doing a viewers poll result video. So after doing the Amiga Poll video, no surprise really being the main two focusing points of the channel, the C64 was always going to get mentioned. I gave the MJG community a chance to vote for the top 15 C64 games of all time. It doesn't have to be in any particular order, but I didn't get as many votes this time as the Amiga one, but as I said in the updates video, the C64 is not everyone's cup of tea, but for a lot of people it is. But thank you to all those that voted. A grand total of 37 people voted, 325 games were picked, and 684 votes. So thank you once again to all these amazing people. So like I did with the Amiga Poll video, the last person to vote was indeed myself, so I was the 37th person to vote. I might do a separate video in the future, we'll see, of my own personal top 15. Because I have to admit though, I didn't really sort of have a top 15. But after a bit of time, I think I'm happy with my results. But yeah, let me know in the comments box below if you want me to do that. But anyway, 37 was the final result, but hopefully in the future we'll do some more poll videos, more different subjects and more different systems. So like I did with my last video, basically numbers 15, 14, 13, 12 and 11, you're basically going to have no webcam or microphone over it to let the game do the talking. We're going to go for the top 10, do it in the usual way I do it. So we'll start off with 9:15 on the list. Let's go.
another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever. Ghostbusters!
Right, so there we go. Thank you once again, everyone that voted. But move on to number 10 on the list. Let's go.
Number 10.
Okay, let's start off with the top 10 now. Starting off at number 10. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. This is a game I don't fully understand. This is Paradroid coming at number 10 with 10 votes. Graphico Limited, 1985. Okay, so the game is Paradroid, a Commodore 64 video game written by Andrew Braybook and published by Houston Consultants in 1985. Which is a shoot 'em up game with puzzle elements that was critically praised at release. The gist of the game is a clear fleet of spaceships of hostile robots by destroying them or taking over via a minigame, which was remade as Power Droid 90 for the Commodore Amiga and the Atari ST. Also as Power Droid 2000 for the Acorn Arcades. And for this video, with 10 votes, it's at number 10. And this is a game, I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I don't fully understand it. I played it twice. Once on the Amiga and once on the C4. I just don't get it. But I did buy myself a physical version, hoping to get the victims of it. And it has helped in a way. Still not 100% clear, but I'm working on it. But basically, yes, we're going to try and take over these robots by either destroying them or by winning them in this minigame. And depending on the number that's on your robot, and depending on how difficult it's going to be. So you start off with 001. So you switch from which one you're trying to control, and you've got to turn them into yellows. Or as many as you can. And if you succeed, you take over that robot. So it's yellow versus purple. I think I've done it actually. So if you win it, then you take their number. So now we've gone from 001 to 249. But yes, you've got to try and clear all the robots on each level of each spaceship. So I believe the highest number is a 999, and we're confronting a 302. So you're going to be confronting a 999, for example, or a 249. It's going to be extremely unlikely. But if you were to defeat it, you gain that number. You become a 999. So we've now got 4 moves. He's got 6. So you've got to try and turn as many of these purple blocks into yellow blocks. And you can also switch sides. If you're going to go to the right, then you've got to turn them into purple blocks. So if you get more than your opponent, you defeat that opponent and become their number. So 249 becomes 302 and we gain some more points. Once you've defeated all the droids on the level, then the level will change colour, then you go to a lift and change levels. Some levels are quite short, some levels are much larger, some have more or less droids. But sometimes levels with short amount of quantities of droids doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy, they're going to be higher numbers. So you want to try and go up in small amounts, should we say. So 302. So we will become a 329 provided we beat him first. So more than even Steven won. So I've got 5, he's got 6. So you want to be fairly quick. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm still not 100% clear, but I'm getting there. But I have played Power Droid 90 on the Amiga, and that's, again, I didn't get very far. I didn't know what I was doing. Having an instruction manual is certainly going to help. So there we go, 975. Okay, with a score of 1,250, we're going to head over to the next location. This is the second level now. So low numbers should be very easy to dispatch with a 329. Right, it's changed colour. That one is also done. We'll go over to the elevator. But there's not going to be many areas to go from here. So we're going to go down one more level and go to a different elevator. But while we're there, yes, let's try and dispatch as many as we can. So because that's only a 303, was it? Or 302, there's no point doing the minigame, because if we were to defeat it, and we should do, you're going to go down in numbers. So you want to try and go up in numbers slowly. Not too extreme. But yes, if you're going to confront a 999 with 329, you're going to lose. Isn't there at all you're going to lose? But the higher the number, the more stronger your laser's going to be. It's not quite a pew pew pew, but it's easier to defeat them with a higher number. But we go for 4. That's going to be, this might finish me off. Right, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 5. Right, let's see what happens. What's the worst can happen? Although, maybe. Done it. Yes, fantastic. So we become a 476. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I think this also does repairs your health at the cost of points. But only if you're flashing, but of course we're not. But I'm fairly happy with that. But anyway, if that's more enough for it is, that is Power Droid.
Number 9.
Okay, we've got to number 9 on the list, a grand total of 11 votes, The Last Ninja 2 or just Last Ninja 2, whichever way we pronounce it. But anyway, this is a game I played very late, but the first one I played was 1993, was Last Ninja 3. Okay, so the game is Last Ninja 2, Back with a Vengeance, an action-adventure video game, developed and published by System 3 for the Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum and Amstrad CPC. Released in 1988 as a sequel to the 1987 game, The Last Ninja. Amiga, Atari ST, MS-DOS and NES ports were followed in 1989, and in 1990 the Last Ninja remix edition of the game was re-released for 8-bit systems. And for this video it features at number 9 with a grand total of 11 votes. It's brilliant, but it wasn't the first one I played. That was in 1993 when I bought The Last Ninja 3 on the C32, which eventually I did sell. I did struggle with the controls on that one. They're always difficult, but this is my personal opinion. This one was a vast improvement over the first game. I mean, it does have its difficult moments, but not as many jumping over different swamps and water like the first game did. But like the first game, you don't have additional weapons at the start. But what I try and do is try and avoid confrontations with enemies and just basically jump past them or walk past them. But you can also replenish energy by eating certain pieces of food. So the first weapon I'll try and get is the stick. And like Donatello in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it is my favourite weapon and has the longest reach. But yeah, it's difficult. But yeah, you lose energy very quickly, and also getting hit by a throwing star takes a huge chunk of energy away. And later on this level, there's actually an even juggler that has throwing blades. In fact, it's right here. So keep jumping, and we don't get a knife at the back. But yeah, unfortunately, no sound effects. But of course, the music makes up for that. It's superb. Also, the climbing and jumping was a vast improvement. Don't die quite as easy on this one, even though it does have difficult moments. So once you've got an item in possession, which in this case is a weapon, use spacebar. Any items you have in your possession, which in my case is a key, use F3. When an enemy lands on the ground, they will get back up again, so you can't hang around for too long and give yourself more work to do. Put the stick away, F3, and on we go. Right, so this is our first test of water, but nowhere near as much difficulty as the first game. We'll jump on the boat, then dismount the boat. The boat also has the final say in this level. He is a ninja, but he can't swim. Right, now these evil bees are deadly. I don't actually know what the best tactic is to avoid them. I tend to run to the left and then jump like there's no tomorrow to the top. But they have fast moving bees. Jump and we have our boat. So basically you've got to push it. Using that. Right, I'm probably going to die here. I normally do. To jump over moving fast-paced bees. I just did it. Right, don't mess this up, Jamie. This is the last hurrah. Jump on the boat and jump off the boat. There you go. First level is complete. Okay, a very brief go of level 2, which is the streets. The game continues from the aftermath of the events of the Last Ninja. With the Kuga Scrolls now in his possession, Arbakuni has now begun training a new order of the Shadow Warriors. During a training session, he is mysteriously teleported to 20th century New York City. Torn from his own time, Arbakuni has defeated evil Shogun Kunitoki once more. And enemies on this one are of course usual people, including ninjas, and also motorbikes, cars, and people throwing things out of windows. Now any items you had before you arrive at this level, you can actually keep. Yeah, it's good. Right, we arrive at the final screen. One quick confrontation. Energy's not good, so I have also got a hamburger in my possession you can use to replenish my energy. Can't remember what button you press to use it actually, not sure. Right, down he goes. Right, no, no, and no. Yes, that's what we need. Fantastic. Water footed, that is the last thing too.
Number 8.
Okay, we arrive at number 8 on the list. This one we've got a grand total of 12 votes. This is Whizball, released in 1987. Okay, so the game is Whizball, a side-scrolling shooter, released by John Hare and Chris Yates, co-founders of C64 Software, released in 1987 for the C64. Later in the year, for Spectrum and the CPC. Versions for Amiga and Atari ST were released the following year, and Whizball was also ported to IBM PC and also the Thompson MO5. Whizball's more human sequel, WhizKid, was released in 1992 for Amiga, Atari ST and IBM PC. Very good to read at the same time of doing it, and for this video it features at number 8. And on the opening day of votes, 9 people voted on the opening day and 5 people voted for Whizball, so it got off to a very good start, but it slowly reduced down the list over the course of the weeks, but ended up at number 8 with 12 votes, which is still a good result, and it's still a very good game. But back in the day when I first played it, I had no idea what I was supposed to do, because I didn't have a manual. Over the course of the years, I have got the manual now. I do understand the game a bit more now, but it's still a very difficult game. A game I would like to finish someday, but it's a very tough task to do it. Now, when you start the game off, you're always going to have basic skills, and what you want first is the thrust and the anti-gravity. Once you've got that, you want to go for icon 3, which is the Catalyte, which gives Wiz a cat fresh from the training college. And you use that to capture these drips of paint, which you put in a bottle. Once the bottle's full, you finish the stage. But the object of the game is to basically colour the stages with different colours. But yeah, it's good. Right, let's go with this lot. Right, try and capture it if you can. Wizworld is set in the once-common realm of Wizworld, where the evil Zark has stolen all the colour, making it dark grey. It's up to Wiz and his cat Nifla to restore it to its former brilliance as Wizball and Catalyte. But yeah, basically you haven't got the cat, you can't capture any of the droplets. When you die, everything you've equipped is then lost. It's very difficult when you've got the basic skills. So telling you at the bottom of the screen how we're currently doing, but I tend to have to stay in one location and focus on one colour. But it can be a bit crazy if you stay in one location for a long period of time. Enemies can be all over the place. But it's not too bad, just over a full bottle now. So basically I would say the game is similar to Apidia, Product X, Gradius or even Proteus. You shoot the enemies, leaving icons behind. Pick up the icons and set the weapon you want to select at the bottom of the screen. And to select a weapon, you've got to waggle the joystick repeatedly left and right. But yes, if you can get all weapons in this game, you'll be firing all cylinders. It's very easy to lose all that and then go back to basics. But some weapons do have a second state. It all depends if you have the Catalyte or not. So you've got the icon 1, which is the thrust and the anti-gravity. Icon 2 is the beam and the double beam. 3 is the Catalyte, and 4 is the blazer. 5 is the Whiz spray and the cat spray. 6 is the smart bomb, and 7 is the shields. You do need some serious icons to do all that. Every so often it will quieten down. I think there's also an enemy that appear if you stand still for too long. But there's technically no time limit here. Right. So now we've got the double laser, so we'll find both ways. So yeah, another thing you can do, and sometimes you do it to try and save myself getting killed. So if it's going to be crazy, you can get out of there. You can hold the ground and go through the pipe work. But of course, in doing that, you're in different locations, which means you're no longer looking for red drips, you're looking for green drips. So it's not going to help me here. So we'll go back into pipe and hopefully get back to where we were and continue what we were doing. We are really close now. But drips aren't always there when you want them. So the case is being patient, moving left to right, and hope for the best. And don't die. This is taking quite some time, but it's not a bad thing because it's allowing me to get more weapons. But where they are located is do we get access to them? That should do it. So it flashes like a disco. Colour completed, laboratory, imminent. So, it's a case of kill what we can be killed. Just keep these enemies at bay and score where you can, and pick up where you can on the way. I suppose this is a bonus stage. Which you can die on. I don't think it affects your life slow. You die, it ends. It ends early. Right, select permanent weapon. Thrust is an essential, really. It's difficult when you're bouncing. But it is technically a ball. Balls are meant to bounce. You won't get very far while bouncing. You want to try and get the permanent skill. I forgot about that. I totally had forgotten about that. But there we go, level 2. Really good game though. More live footage, that is Wizball.
Number 7.
Okay, day 2 for me. To resume play with The Last Ninja coming at number 7. Now 2 days before the voting finished, I did receive a few more additional votes, which took it from 9 to 7, with 12 votes. Okay, so the game is Last Ninja, an action-adventure game developed and published by System 3 in 1987 for the C64. It was converted to Apple II GS, MS-DOS, BBC Micro, and Aecon Electron in 1988. Apple II in 1999, and the Amiga RST as the Last Ninja Remix in 1990. And the Aecon Archimedes in 1991. It was one of the most successful games released for the Commodore 64 and was followed by Last Ninja 2 and Last Ninja 3. And for this video, it features at number 7 with 12 votes. And I have finished it a few times, I haven't played it for a while. But this one I played for the first time in 2019. The reason why that was the case is because I really did struggle with the third game when I bought it in 1993. I didn't really want to experiment with any of the first 2 games. I mean, it is difficult at first, but those jumping sections, still difficult to this day. Jumping over water and jumping over swamps. I don't always get past it. Sometimes I might lose a few lives along the way, but you can replenish your energy by eating certain pieces of food. which is 9 times out of 10 going to be apples in this one. But once again, you start off with no additional skills, and also you can't pick anything up, you've got to pick up a bag first. There's plenty of items around, but even picking up things is quite difficult to do. Right, there we go. Puffer's got a brand new bag. Pick up the bag, and go back and get the key. Now, this Buddha will allow you to get another additional item, which you need at the end of the level. You've got to try and defeat a dragon by hitting him directly into the face with a smoke bomb. And even that is difficult. You've got to be in the right place at the right time, but you can get about 3 smoke bombs on this level. So you've got 3 rolls of the dice. So we put our sword away, put the nunchucks away. There we go. Fantastic. There's a really, really good moonwalk. Right, off we go. We're not done with hazards. Far from it. But once again, enemies. I try and avoid them if I can, by basically running past them. It saves energy. But energy does drain quite quickly. But enemies will not get back up on this one. They do in the second game. Not all of them though, but the majority of them do. Right, so now is our next difficult hazards. There's an item there. That's an apple, isn't it? No, it's not. It's a smoke bomb. Right. Don't fall in the swamp. It's very easy to fall into the swamp. Yeah, what were they thinking when they came up with this? God, blimey, difficult. Still very, very difficult to do. But energy is maxed out. Right, now I've got to go and find that dragon. Right, I just found another apple, and also, I've just looked in the instruction manual. I don't think apples are extra energy. I think they're extra lives. Yeah, I was pressing every button under the sun, but nothing was working. But yes, it's extra lives, it's not energy. It might be the case with the second game, I'm not sure. Right, so let's go and find that dragon. But yeah, it's very easy to get lost in a place like this. Right, energy ain't good. But it wasn't great with the combat, which is why I try to avoid combat if I can. Right, up there is the wrong way to go. This is the way to go, I believe. Right, so we've got 3 attempts with this dragon. Yeah, you've got to be in a specific point. You'll hit him right on the nose. I mean, it's a really cool game. I love it, but it's very easy to make a mistake. But if you go past it without doing it, it'll torture you to death. You'll be burnt to a crisp. But that is the end of the first level. There you go, fantastic.
Number 6.
Okay, right at number 6. This is a game I've also played on the Amiga, but this video comes in at number 6, Elite Systems Buggy Boy. Right, there we go. Copyright Shadow Corporation 1987, developed by Tatsumi. Okay, so the game is Buggy Boy, also known as Speed Buggy in North America. It's an off-road racing game developed by Tatsumi and releasing arcades in 1985. The cockpit version of the arcade cabinet has a panoramic 3-screen display, a feature previously employed in TX1, but Buggy Boy having a larger cabinet, an upright single-screen cabinet was released in 1986 under the name of Buggy Boy Jr. And for this game, or this video should we say, it features at number 6 with a grand total of 13 votes. It's difficult to try and drive a car while reading at the same time. But this is a game I'm pretty sure I didn't play back in the day. I've only played the 2 versions, this one and the Amiga version. Out of the 2, I think this one is better. I think it plays much, much more better. But I don't recall playing or even seeing the arcades. But yes, when it comes to driving games, you're always going to get hazards. And in this one, they're absolutely everywhere. You can fall into the drink, you can explode. You can also drive on 2 wheels. You've got to try and, of course, keep your time topped up by going through these gates. And also collecting flags along the way. Now, I'm not a huge fan of up for acceleration, but for here, that's what you need to do. So the brake, it's down. Preferred forward for acceleration, but it's performing well. I don't tend to do many jumps. It's very risky jumping because you can hit something for sure. But you will see the occasional other cars, but 9 times out of 10 they're going to crash or burn or sink. It's very easy to do that. But I've heard that if you crash too many times, or just even a few times, you're going to run out of time. It's quite a tight time limit, I've heard. But yeah, the laps are quite long. Hey, only fill in the drink. C64 awarded the C64 port of Buggy Boy a gold medal and a 97% score, calling it a cracking racing game that proves totally compulsive. Buggy Boy was also included as one of the titles of the 2010 book 1001 Games Must Play Before You Die. But yeah, it's very, very good. But yes, the courses are quite long. But yeah, I believe there's 5. You have this one, which is off-road. You also have north, east, south, and west. I have finished a few of them. And it is great to go back to. It's performing so well. Right, so this is the 5th and final lap, which makes sense being 5 flags at the top. And every time you pick up a flag, if you pick them up in the order it tells you at the top of the screen, you do earn more additional score. Once you do that, then it gives you another set of 5 to pick up in a different order. Again, do it all in the time limits to get additional score. Don't want to lose it now. Haven't crashed yet, but a few close encounters. But you can also jump over the hazards, over a wall. And that is a goal. It's a fantastic game, it's really good. So I believe that's all you have to do. It's just one race and you get a high score and you input your name on the high score table. And there we go. More footage, Buggy Boy.
Number 5.
Okay, we arrive at number 5. This is a game I was not surprised it featured on this list. This is the Great Giana Sisters, no physical version. I haven't seen one with my own 2 eyes. For this video, 14 votes. The game is Great Giana Sisters, a platform game developed by West German company Time Warp and published by Amiga Arts in 1987. The Commodore 64, Atari ST and Amiga. Players control either Giana or her sister Maria to explore a magical world inside their dreams and must find a giant diamond to wake up. They traverse side-scrolling stages while avoiding hazards such as monsters and other additional enemies, which can be defeated by using power-ups which grant the player abilities such as firing projectiles and making enemies fall asleep. And for this video, it features number 5 with 14 votes. I would have been very surprised if this game did not make the list. It's really good, but it wasn't the first version I played, it was of course on the Amiga. But me and my brother did not own any Nintendo systems back in the day, so this was close we got to playing Super Mario Bros. Games at home. But I did finish the Amiga version first. Okay, so like the Mario Bros. Games, levels take place on the underground as well as the overground. And yes, the first time we saw it, we automatically thought, yes, this is very much like the Mario Bros. But at the time, we didn't sort of think about the controversy it was going to cause. We really enjoyed playing it. But not only does it look like the Mario Brothers, it also performs like the Mario Brothers. And you start the game off with basic skills, you always do. But the first skill allows you to break blocks with your head, that can give you a crazy haircut. After that, you get projectiles, which are basically drilling bubbles. And you keep those until you die. Unfortunately, this game does have an equal time limit, and also, yes, any skills you picked up, if you die, you lose everything, including the kitchen sink. You can also get an ability that freezes enemies in a spot, which is limited, and also another skill, which kills all enemies on screen, also is limited to 1 use. And you are also immune to fire if you have the right skill to do so. And also, there are plenty of secrets around, and also does have the occasional level warps, which I'm not a huge fan of, but sometimes it's very easy to not hit those warps, and you do get a few bosses along the way. Okay, so to level 4 now. Following its UK release, Great Giana Sisters was pulled from the shop after Amiga Arts received a notice from Nintendo. It eventually became one of the most popular home computer games of the era through piracy and emulation. A sequel for the Commodore 64 game, Hard and Heavy, downplayed Nintendo inspiration. Various new Giana Sisters games were released in the early 2000s. The game's music composed by Chris Elsbeck was used in later games and performed by symphony orchestras. And it's absolutely superb, but yes, I heard the Amiga version first. It took me quite some years until we got to play this version. But yes, there are actually 2 bosses. One is a dragon and one is a spider. And it took me some years to realise you can actually kill the spider and the dragon. I was always just jumping over them. But the projectiles do bounce and perform differently in this version than it does in Amiga. It bounces differently. But yes, also these diamonds. One of the diamonds gains you additional life. Anytime you don't use, you convert it to points. It's superb. More live footage, that is the Great Giana Sisters.
Number 4.
Right, there we go. Next on the list, number 4. Coming number 4 is Commando, with 14 votes. Okay, so what I've done for this video, like I did with the Amiga Poll video with Sensible Soccer and Sensible World of Soccer, any votes I've got for Commando and Commando Arcade are basically blended together to make one. So for this one, 14 votes in total. Okay, so the game is Commando, a 1985 vertical scrolling run-and-gun video game, developed and published by Capcom for arcades. It was distributed in North America by Data East, and in Europe by several companies including Capcom, Deep Leisure, and Sega SA Sonic. Versions were released for home video game consoles and home computers, as unrelated to the 1985 film of the same name that was released 6 months after the game. But yes, I did wonder that back then, but no, we're definitely not playing as Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though so many of Arnold Schwarzenegger's films did make games. Most of them, I'd say. We don't really sort of get days like that anymore. But yes, it made more sense to do what I did with the Amiga Poll video with Sensible Soccer and Sensible Brother Soccer by blending people that voted for Commando and Hard Arcade into one vote. But yes, I do have the original version for the C64, which of course is a much shorter version than this. And this version did iron out a lot of its kinks and of course made it more arcade perfect. But yes, the screen flicker was its biggest problem with the game, that and the fact that it wasn't very long, and also now you can actually throw a grenade by using the holding fire technique and not using the spacebar technique. But yeah, you can pick up more along the way. We will be throwing and receiving so many grenades. The opposition will have a limited supply, but of course we do not. You get to the end of the level, the door opens up and you're bombarded by so many enemies. Keep them at bay and you go on to the next stage. Oh my gosh, but yes, grenades get thrown all over the place. But it's so good, finishing many times doing on live stream. There we go, amazing. Still got 14 grenades. I broke the first area, now rush to the second. There we go. Okay, move over to area 2. Another nice addition to this game was the sounds. And of course, in the options screen, you have the option to listen to the classic Rob Hubbard track with or without the old school sound effects. The more digital enhancements were added, including a remix version of the soundtrack, and also you can actually listen to new school sound effects, which is what you're hearing now. That and the classic Rob Hubbard. But yes, unfortunately, no more digital weapons were added, but you do have a limited supply of bullets, but not a limited supply of grenades. But most things are destructible. But yes, the levels are quite short, but you either take it slow and steady or run with electricity and really go for it. But anyway, we arrive at its door, and it will be much more difficult than the one we just did, because not only are they arriving from the door, but also arriving from areas around you. And of course, grenades are plenty. You can't really afford to stand still anywhere. You're never safe anywhere on a level like this. But you do also get checkpoints, but you do also earn nice to score, and it isn't technically a time limit here, so that is also a good thing. We've still got 6 lives, we broke the second area, we now move on to the third. Okay, just finished the third area, now we move on to the fourth. Now in the original C4 version, this would have been the final stage. Now what you're listening to now is basically the remix version of Rob Hubbard's main theme. And in the game, we play as Super Joe, and I'm going to run super fast. I'm going to run like Forrest Gump and hope for the best. This one has so many trucks and bikes and bazookas. You can blow up the bikes, you can blow up the trucks, but unfortunately you cannot be equipped with a bazooka at any time in this game. Unfortunately. But we're going to keep going. Right, we've got to try and kill the enemies in the windows. Luckily their bullets don't go to fall into the screen. There's only one version I played where your bullets can go to fall into the screen. But of all the versions I have played, I think the weakest one is the Amiga version. It's a good version, but the music is nowhere in the same league as what you get on this one. Right, so are we safe here? I don't know, maybe. Watch those grenades. They just throw them randomly, I'm sure they do. You done? No, I'm not done. Still more. Fantastic. There we go. All I've put here is that it's Commando / Commando Arcades. Nice issue with the helicopter as well.
Number 3.
Can you tell what it is yet? Yes, of course you can. Coming at number 3, this amazing game. No physical version on the C64, only on the C32 I have here. But the Amiga version box, which I used to have back in the day, has gone astray. For this one, 15 votes. Okay, so the game's International Karate Plus, also known as IK Plus, is a fighting game written by Archie McLean and published in 1987 by System 3 for the Commodore 64, and PC and ZX Spectrum. It's a successor to International Karate, released in 1985, and Activision published the C4 version in the US as Chop and Drop. And for this video, it features at number 3. I'm very pleased it's in number 3, because it deserves to be in the top 3. It's amazing. It's still as good to this day, with 15 votes. It wasn't the first version I played though, but it's amazing what the C4 was capable of doing in 1987. It looks great, it plays well, it sounds great, and the animations are superb. It really is good. But yes, the Amiga version I played first, then the CD32 version, which I think is a missed opportunity because there's no difference other than it being on the CD. But there we go, white wins. Remaining time is 30 points. Okay, I failed on the first attempt to give it a try on the second. This is much more difficult than the Amiga version. For this version, of course, you don't get the bomb bonus stage. So you've got to try and deflect the balls with your shields. And there's really not much space in between. Also, they go up in speed very quickly. But if you do it successfully, you do earn quite a decent score, which helps towards going up in belts. And that tells you the top screen that we're currently at green. I don't know if it's green 1, 2 or 3, it doesn't say. Yeah, it's very rare to do that. It's very, very difficult. Right, still going. Level 10, currently have purple belts. But basically the rules. You all know the rules of the game. Basically, don't lose. Don't be in last place. But if you're in tied situations, you can still go through. If you're all tied at the same point, it then comes down to who scored the first point and who got the last point. So if the player got the final point and you're all drawn, you're going to be eliminated. So 16 seconds remain, this is a point. We're currently at brown belts. But yes, computer control players do go with difficulty quite quickly. So we're currently losing. So basically the rewards is very similar to where Exploding Fish. It all depends on what sort of attack you do, whether it be a single point or double points. It's a shame there's no bomb mode in this one, because that is the easier one of the two. I'm still in. Blue wins, white stays in, come on red. So there you go, 1,100 points rewarded as a time bonus. Right, let's give it one more try. 30 seconds doesn't mean anything here, but also this goes up in difficulty as well. Any ones that are flashing can also change their bounce in mid-game. Which is interesting, there's not actually one here. There was one on the previous one I did. The Amiga version, this is very, very loud and proud. Still very, very difficult, but there we go. That's more footage, that is International Karate Plus.
Number 2.
Right, we arrive at number 2 on the list. Just happen to have 2 versions of it. It's fantastic. This one is Americana software, this one is Datasoft. This one got a grand total of 16 votes. All 3 games are great, but this is my favourite. Come at number 2. Okay, so the game is Bruce Lee, a platform game written by Ron J. Forshay for Atari 8-bit computers and published in 1994 by Datasoft. Graphics were done by Kelly Day, while the music was done by John A. Fitzpatrick. The Commodore 64 and Apple II versions were released the same year. The game was also converted to ZX Spectrum and to PC and published by US Gold. It was the first US Gold game that was featuring a famous individual. The MSX version was also published in 1985 by Comptiq. And it's absolutely superb. I'm very pleased this one also makes a list. This is also one of the ones that I voted for, but here it is, 16 votes, coming at number 2. And I got this one at the age of 7, bought it from Sainsbury's. Bought a few other games from Sainsbury's, also bought Beachhead 1 and 2. Both also very good games. But games back then weren't over expensive. £1.99, £2.99, something on those regions. It was money well spent. It was also the first ever game I finished which rolled over with steady difficulty. The game itself isn't overly long, but of course, eventually it did receive 2 additional sequels. But this was the only one that had a physical release. Now you start the game off with 4 falls. Falls are basically lives. You can earn more along the way by picking up yin-yangs. But the big part of this game is based on these lanterns. Picking up a certain quantity of lanterns open up secret passages, which in this case opens up the passage that goes into the chambers. Now one of its problems is he's falling. He does fall very slowly. It's more of a floaty jump, but you do have these lasers. And it's difficult to judge sometimes. We've got this very floaty jump, or fall should we say. But it does have its fair share of challenges, but it's an absolute classic. Right, so this is my favourite screen of the game. Now, of course, there's only 2 enemies in this game. There were a few more in later games. The ninja is my favourite, but yes, they're quite comical. But not only does he have the flying kick and the punch, you also can use traps against the enemies in a very comical way. But yeah, don't forget this game is also 2-player, but it is actually possible to take control of the green Yamo, which I've never experienced. But in later games, the second game, yes, it did improve a few things, but a few things I wasn't keen on. But they did give you the ability to swim, which you don't swim in this game. I don't think you swim in the 3rd game either, but these cone-like surfaces, electrical sparks, is a very well-known thing in the game, and they feature throughout the games in all 3 games. The plot involves the martial artist Bruce Lee, advancing from chamber to chamber in the Wizard's Tower, seeking to claim the infinite wealth and the secret for immortality. There are 20 chambers, each represented by a single screen with platforms and ladders. To progress, the player must collect a certain number of lanterns and suspended from various points of the chambers. And we've still got 4 lives. There's also one area in this chamber where you get more additional lives by picking up yin-yangs. And what you can do is, you pick up the yin-yangs, leave the room and return to it. And you do it about 4, maybe 5 times. It's a good way of getting more additional lives. But after about 4 or 5 times, then it's taken away. I don't know if it's a bug, I have no idea, it could be. But 4 falls we've got so far. Okay, we arrive at its most famous room. Now, these electrical sparks feature throughout each of the games, and in my young days, yes, a few lives were lost on these. Now, when you finish the game, it will actually loop with extended difficulty, and this screen here is a lot more difficult on the second playthrough. Levels 1, 2, 3 and 4, all levels are actually extended to the far right or left side of the screen, giving more work to do. It's a nice idea though, but yeah, it took me years to realise that was the case. Right, it'd be rude not to finish it from here, but basically, yes, one more screen will do it. So basically we'll keep running and hit one more final switch. Fantastic, there we go. A win for Bruce Lee. Still got 10 lives intact, but I have played this game a lot, and it's jumping for joy. There you go, more footage, that is Bruce Lee.
Number 1.
So there we go, we arrive at number 1. The most voted from the MJG community goes to Bubble Bubble, with a grand total of 17 votes. Commodore conversion by Software Creations, produced by Firebird. Okay, so the game is Bubble Bubble, a 1986 platform game developed and published by Chateau for arcades. It was distributed in the United States by Romstar and in Europe by Electrocoin. Players take control of Bob and Bob, two dragons set out to save their girlfriends from the world known as the Cave of Monsters. In each level, Bob and Bob must defeat each enemy by trapping them into bubbles and popping them, who return into bonus items when they hit the ground. One of the levels in total is becoming progressively more difficult. I'm trying to read at the same time, it's also becoming progressively difficult. It's fantastic. Coming at number 1 with 17 votes. Thank you to everyone that voted. It's a classic, isn't it? It wasn't the first version I played though. That was of course on the Amiga. But like Gianna Sisters, like IK Plus, this version I did play very late. But yes, each level is done by a single screen. You've got to try and trap all the enemies in bubbles and pop them. Now, if you do it all at one time with one single pop, you do earn more great score. Every time they land on the ground, it can be anything from a piece of fruit to a diamond, or maybe even a special ability or an umbrella. The umbrella skips you certain levels, which is more in certain versions. On this one, it skips you 3 levels. You do start off with 9 credits, which is very generous. You do earn more lives to score. What's that? I don't know. There's so many skills I don't know what they do, but not many versions I have played. I haven't finished the Amiga version, but I have finished Tiny Bubble, which is pretty much an arcade perfect port, which came out about 3 or 4 years ago. Now I have also picked up the shoe. Ooh, look at that, which makes you run faster, very much like Rainbow Islands, which is technically the sequel to this. There we go. So you hit all the enemies and you move on. But enemies, some of them will actually fire at you. Now, once you've trapped them into a bubble, you have limited time to pop them. If they get out of there, they're actually more angry than before. And when they're angry, they're faster. Which is understandable. Anyone being popped into a bubble is going to get angry. It is absolutely outstanding. Level 5. Okay, going well. Currently at level 12. Bubble Bubble became one of Chatto's biggest arcade successes, and is credited with inspiring creations of many similar screen-clear platform games that followed. It was acclaimed by critics for its character design, memorable soundtrack, gameplay and multiplayer, and is often listed as one of the greatest video games of all time. Bubble Bubble was followed by a long list of sequels and successors on multiple platforms. One of these was Puzzle Bubble, which became successful in its own right, spawning its own set of sequels. Which is a classic once again. Right, going well. We have got one more upgrade, which allows us to fire bubbles at a much faster rate. But if you die, you lose everything. And go back to the basic bubbles. Right, they're angry, I don't blame them. But also, there is actually an enemy that arrives on the screen if you take too long. And he is indestructible. Right, don't mess this up. Fantastic, there we go. In terms of letters, you've only got 3 so far. But if you get that, you do earn a life. Right, still going, level 21. So far I've picked up 1 umbrella. There's another one right there, right on cue, but they're not on screen very long. There we go. Brothers Bob and Bob are 2 happy-go-lucky dragons living in a magical forest. Baron Van Blubber has kidnapped the brothers' girlfriends. Bob and Bob have to finish one of the levels in the Cave of Monsters in order to rescue them. At the end of the game, after fighting at Super Drunk on level 100 in cooperative mode, it is revealed that Bob and their girlfriends are humans, transformed by magic, and that Bob and Bob's parents were kidnapped as well. Right, bonus time. Try and pick up all the items in the remaining time limit, and as a result, you actually take all enemies off screen. Do successfully, and you earn 1,000 points bonus. There we go. Just right as well, fantastic. But yeah, for a game like this, and recording videos, when do you have a cut-off point? Right, head over to level 25. Popcorn! I'll go on with popcorn. Right, these are tough. Anything that flies is tough. Right, we still haven't got the extend yet. I need one more E. The magic E. Right, just risk it for Willow Biscuit. Also, do you have the flames like getting powers of stars? Oh my gosh! Right. Fantastic. There you go. I think that's more than our footage. Thank you everyone that voted. That is Bubble Bubble with 17 votes. Okay, but it's more than footage. Hope you enjoyed my video. A huge shout out to the patrons and thank you all those that have voted. Really do appreciate it. Hopefully in the future I have some more additional systems, but we'll do an update before I do that. Hope you enjoyed my video. Hope you catch the next one. Listen to you. Ciao, bye. See ya.